And I'm here today doing my first live, and I really want to talk to you all about how you can strategize more for your business. As a business owner, if you don't know me and this is the first time you happen to see my face here, hello. My name is Rosemary and I'm a lifestyle strategist and business coach. I like to work with women who are passionate about turning their skills and their knowledge or superpower into a side hustle, and also growing them to hopefully fully move from their 9 to 5 into full-time entrepreneurs. And that is what I do. I have been coaching women on one-to-one and in group setting to help them either start their side hustle or grow it into a full-time business. And that's what I've been doing for a couple of years now. And I'm really, really passionate about working with women to, achieve those goals and to really break through with their businesses and really do what they're passionate about. Because I feel like if everyone does what they're passionate about and what they're good at, we will all be, in a better world. I think everybody would just be more fulfilled and happier and just, contribute and create more impact. And so I am super passionate about helping people, live out with of their passion. And so if you're here watching this as a live or as a replay, definitely let me know where you're watching this from, what business you are in, what your business is. Is this your full-time gig or is it a side hustle? Or are you watching this and thinking about making 2023 the year that you start your business, the year that you take your passion and use it to, transform lives? And I feel like a lot of people, who have been thinking about this for many years. COVID was kind of a catalyst for a lot of people to venture into doing something of their own, either doing something small at home or even growing it into their full-time businesses. A lot of people were laid off and so out, without jobs and needed to rethink what they wanted to do. Either venture back into, the job market and look for a job, or to do something of their own, something that they're passionate about, something that they're good at. And it's absolutely my passion. I don't believe that everybody is lucky to find a job. So working for someone doing what they're passionate about. And when you can't, the answer is not always to just leave your 9 to 5 and start your own thing. But I believe in being able to start your side hustle alongside your business. Alongside your 9 to 5, because it gives you so much fulfillment and it allows you to try out a few things until you're, first of all, know for sure what you want to do. Secondly, just improve your skills and your know-how. And thirdly, to, gain more revenue so that when you are ready to transition, you can fully make that transition without having to quickly probably fall back into another job as soon as you leave. So that is really, really why I'm super passionate about this topic. And as a coach, I really encourage people to start a side hustle yesterday. Like if you don't have one, this is your year to start one. And, I'd love to support you with that. So this live today, as I said, is really to talk to you about how to know what tasks to focus on when it comes to planning your week. And I feel like I did a post about a little bit of this last week. I talked about the 5 mistakes that business owners and side hustlers make when it comes to, growing their business. And one of the first things that I put on there was the lack of strategy. And when I say the lack of strategy, I mean the lack of planning. And if you are a business owner, a side hustler, or, you have something and you start your week just doing whatever comes on your plate and you're just trying to, I do a little bit of content creation, I do a little bit of admin, and I do a little bit of customer service, and I do a little bit of purchasing, or whatever. If you don't really have a clear plan as to what you need to be focused on as when you start your week, it is a problem. And I feel a lot of us who worked in the corporate world and who have a 9 to 5, we don't kind of have to figure that out, like what you need to do, because you start your work week and you pretty much know what you need to do. And what you need to do, it has a purpose. So you don't just come to work and just decide, oh, I'm just going to work on this and I'm going to work on that. It's predetermined based on the objectives, the goals. There's an action plan created that either you created for yourself, depending on how management is, whether there's a lot of micromanagement or if it's top down or bottom up. You really know ahead of time what to do. So because there's a bigger vision of the company, and then there's the mission, the vision, there's the objectives, the goals, and that's trickled down to all the departments. And when I look at the 9 to 5 that I work for, or the company that I work for, in my 9 to 5, there's a bigger objective that the CEO has. The CEO has a vision that it has a mission which is shared across the whole company, and everybody that kind of enters the company goes through an onboarding process, right, where you figure out, okay, what is the mission and vision of this company, what do they stand for, what are their values. And most of the time during even the hiring process, you want to kind of get to know more about that, and that's how you decide whether or not you're a great fit for the company. But that's also how companies decide whether or not you're a great fit for them, if you match those values and all these things, and obviously a skill set. But I feel like when we decide to start a business, we don't look at putting those same things in place. And I'm not talking about having a big ass business plan with all the mission statement, all of that. But I do believe that it's important for you to have a clear idea of what your mission, your vision, and also your values are, personal values, and how that's clear, because all of that is kind of going to influence what your strategy is going to be. And when we talk about strategy, we actually just mean, what is your plan? Like, girl, what are you working on? How do you know what you need to do? And so if you don't have a clear mission and vision about what it is that you want to do, what you are trying to achieve, and when we look at the mission and vision, these are kind of long-term, sometimes even more than you. If we're able to look further away and whatever we're doing becomes bigger than us, that's where we see it. That's kind of mission, vision. That's the big picture. But when I look at personal values, that's something that I go through with my clients. When I start working with them, I ask them, what is your vision for your life? What do you see for yourself, for your lifestyle? And as a business coach, I really like to combine lifestyle with business, because it's important for me that we don't separate the two. I believe that you are the face of your company, and people buy from people and people don't buy from brands. And even though we believe that, when people are buying, let's say from Apple, they're not necessarily buying from Steve Jobs. But the thing is, they're buying into whatever the kind of idea that he created, right? And at this stage of Apple, it's not recognizable. It's not linked to a person as much probably anymore. But when we talk about smaller brands like us, people actually identify with you. And it's important that from the get-go, you don't separate those two things. And I think when I get questions from people who always ask me, what do you think, even like when it comes to content creation, should I have two platforms? Should I have one Instagram for my private life, like just as a person, or should I have another one for my business? I always advise that they shouldn't, unless it's a product. Because if it's a service, I prefer that you keep it under you, because you are the face of it. And even if it's a product, I think it's better to keep it on your own profile and then maybe switch it up a little bit. But that's a conversation for another day. And so really, as I said, the strategy really is, what do you need to focus on to grow your business? And let's even look at it at the weekly pace. And so what do you need to look at? When I say that, I mean, based on the mission, vision, and objective that you have and the values that you have, what do you need to do this week that's going to bring you closer to that vision, that's going to bring you closer to that objective that you set for yourself, and so on and so forth. So it really starts with going a little bit backwards, figuring out what is your mission, what is your vision, what are your personal values, and also what are your objectives or goals for this year. So goals and then objectives. And I think because it's the beginning of the year, a lot of people do think about goals and objectives and things like that. But as we go, like after Q1, Q2, people kind of forget that you need to have goals and objectives throughout the year for your business. And so I think the way to look at it is we're starting this year now. Think about what you'd like to achieve for the year. Where do you want to see your business be at the end of the year? What would really make it worthwhile? What would make it like, wow, I'm so proud of myself. If I can achieve this by the end of the year, wow, this would be so amazing. And I said, as I do this exercise with my clients and we look at all the different aspects of your life, such as, and I use the wheel of life when I look at the different aspects of your life. So like spirituality, health and wellness, finances, career, blah, blah, blah. But it's also really important when you're doing that specifically for your business to look at, revenue. How much money do I want to make? How much money in the bank account do I want to have at the end of the year that I actually keep? And not how much I made from sales, but really how much do I keep in my bank account? So these are questions that you need to ask yourself. Financial goals. Also, when it comes to maybe visibility and branding and marketing, all of that, like where maybe I'd like to be featured somewhere. Maybe there's some collaborations that you'd like to do. So really think long term, at least for the year. Where do I see myself? Hey, thanks again for those of you who are joining. I see a few people are joining. Definitely let me know if you are a full-time business owner or a side hustler or a entrepreneur. If this year is the year you want to start your business, I'd love to know. And also if you have any questions when it comes to how to plan your week strategically, or any questions about entrepreneurship, just definitely leave them in the comments here below and I'll answer them either in this call or in the next live that I do. So going back to the conversation, really think about the year at large. And after you've thought about the year, think specifically about Q1, January, February, March. What would you like to achieve when it comes down to this first quarter of the year? And to be honest, this first quarter is where a lot of, if you think about corporate world again, that's like where you go, because you have your strategy for the year, you really think about it. And then the first kind of few months, maybe January, mid-January, it seems a bit slow because, a lot of people are coming back from holidays, blah, blah, blah. But then after that, a lot of companies actually launch or relaunch things. So it is a great time to introduce a new product, to reintroduce an old product or service, to revamp yourself, to reintroduce yourself to the public. So that's kind of a great moment to do that. And then you obviously have February and March. So these are really good sales months. I would say good sales months are throughout the year, but really a lot of people focus on putting their all, first quarter of the year. So I would say as you have a strategy for the year at large, how much you'd like to make in terms of collaborations as well, visibility and all of that. When you look at Q1, what is it that you'd like to do in terms of finances as well? So how many sales would you like to have? How much money would you like to keep in your bank account? Is there any feature that you'd like, some collaborations that you'd like to do? What big highlights would you want to achieve for you to feel like, okay, this Q1 has been really a success? Put those things down. And once you have those goals and objectives, you can either have milestones in between, so let's give an example for someone who is, let me see, what kind of businesses do we have here? Maybe like a blogger, right? You're a blogger, so your end of year could be you want to reach this number of readers or on your blog, so that many views on your website. Maybe you have a mailing list that you want to grow, so you can have a number that you want to reach. You want to have X number of subscribers by the end of the year. You want to do maybe one featuring at least per quarter in renowned like magazines or podcasts or whatever, maybe on TV even. So think about, as I talked about visibility, where do you want to see yourself featured? Maybe some collaborations that you'd like to do. Do you have any products or services that you're launching? So think about that for the year and then split it in quarters. And then when it comes to your weekly planning, you want to pick up that list and think about, okay, if let's say I want to grow my readers to X number by the end of the year, and I break it down, let's say per quarter, Is it going to be equal per quarter? If not, just put a number to it. And the reason why I like people to put a number to it, whether it comes to how much money they want to make, subscribers or whatever, first of all, you want to make your goals smart, right? So you want to make them specific, measurable, attainable, what is it, the R? Help me out here. I'm even forgetting my acronyms right now. What is it? There's I'll come back to that if I remember, but it's escaping me right now. I'm actually gonna see if I'll remember in a minute. But if you remember, just let me know in the chat. It's escaping me for a moment. So yeah, make it very specific, right? So you want to use numbers because it helps you to kind of have something to pin it to. It's like, okay, I want to reach 400 new readers. Okay, 400. So every week you need to look at what kind of task, what kind of things you need to do in order to get closer to that number. So all the tasks that you're going to do have to somehow be related to that. So me, myself, as a coach, my ultimate thing that I'm selling, right, is a coaching program. And the only way for people to know about me is through content, maybe word of mouth, people referrals, me being featured on different places on other people's platforms. So these are some of the things that I need to put down as like, these are what are the things that help me to get seen by relevant audience that is looking to get information that I have. And then another way for me to have more control is to have discovery calls, right? So I need to actually speak with people. Why? Because I know that when I speak with them and they're able to tell me their stories, I'm able to see immediately whether or not we're a great fit, and also whether or not I can actually help them reach their goals, right? So for me, a metric would be to track the number of people that I add to my mailing list, so just come into my container. So whether followers that are engaging with me, mailing list, and things like that, but also how many calls am I actually doing per week. And so these are some of the things that I track. And so that brings me to the next point, which is tracking. You need to have some kind of way to track how you're doing along the way, because you can't just create goals and objectives and be like, oh, okay, this is what I'm looking at. But then every week you don't know how far along you are when it comes to that specific goal. So I would say start with the big picture at the end of the year. We're at the start of the year, so the mission, vision, the goals, the objectives, the values that you have, thinking about what you'd like to achieve by the end of the year, and then break it down in quarters, specifically focus on Q1 now, and then break it down per month. Okay, if this is what I want to achieve by Q1, end of Q1, which is end of March, what do I need to do monthly in order to feel like I'm making progress towards those goals? And also how to put things in place to be able to track that. So meaning whether you're going to look at your statistics, how many signups you have, if it's mailing lists, how many people actually add on to the list, how many people actually read your mails, and so on and so forth. Followers, I'm not big on tracking followers on social media because, again, we don't really have a way to track it so well. You can see, adding, removing, you can engage with them, but it's not the same thing. I do look at it, but I don't pay too much close attention to it. What I prefer is my mailing list and the number of calls that I do. So things like that. So find out for yourself basically what it is that you want to add to that monthly goal in Q1 and see which tasks go with that. I like to do my planning every Sunday evening. And if you've been here and in one of those calls that I did, as I do my, my planning for the week on Sunday evening, I started the month of January, I think on the 9th of January, with co-working sessions, which allow other female entrepreneurs to join and plan their week as I am planning my own. And the good thing is a lot of the members, the ladies that joined, said that as simple as it may sound and seem, being in a call where you see other people also working on their goals just makes you want to work on your goals. And so a lot of them were surprised at how much they had achieved in the little time that they joined, and also how fast time goes, right? But it's just like commit to a specific time. And sometimes it's difficult to do it on your own. And that's why I highly encourage you, if you can join the co-working sessions, it's free. Definitely join. bring one task that you're thinking about that you need to complete, and then work on it during that hour. But the better thing would be to work on what actually needs to get done. And so that's where strategy comes in, because you can come to those co-working sessions and work on things that you shouldn't actually be doing. And so if you follow some coaches, you've probably heard about the money making task, and money making task means tasks that actually make you money. So sometimes people are thinking about it in terms of, okay, I'm doing this and it's immediately making money. No, but sometimes you need to do certain tasks so that another step can happen so that you can make money. So content creation, for me, I'm not an influencer, so content creation doesn't make me money, but I need to create content in order to be seen by the relevant audience that I want, and then for them to kind of get into my world and then be nurtured into building a relationship with me, to then converting into sales. Sometimes I'm saying this in these steps, but it doesn't take sometimes it goes faster, sometimes it takes more time. And what I mean is, people who don't know about you, who've never heard of you, they will find you through social media nowadays. So probably here, like on Instagram, someone is just going through their feed, they may see something on their phone, either a reel or a post that they really resonate with. What is the first thing that people do, right? You click on the thing, you like it, or you just watch it, and then you click on the person that posted it. You may go to their profile, say, oh, okay. As soon as you get to their profile, you look at the 9 or 12 first content or the last piece of content that they created, and you're like, oh, okay, it resonates with me too. I actually like this and I actually like that. Sometimes you end up binging on their content. So if it's reels, you end up watching more reels. If it's just, quotables or tweetables, you just read it and you're like, oh, resonate. Maybe you may leave a comment here and there. And then if you really are into it, you're in their stories as well. You're responding to things that is happening in their stories, you're really liking it, then you may go to the next step and click on their link in bio, because you read their bio and like, okay, this is what they do, I actually really like it. And then you click on the link in bio, which they have, and you may see that they have a freebie or, any other thing that you may find interesting. Maybe they have another community, they have a Facebook group, or they have a mailing list. So you see how creating content is not necessarily a money-making task, but it is. And so for me, that's something that is on my to-do when it comes to strategic work and strategic task. Content creation is part of it. But to someone else, it may not be. To be honest, I think to most people who are doing business and have an online presence, content creation should be part of your strategy. And it's not necessarily LinkedIn, but it has to be LinkedIn. It doesn't necessarily have to be Instagram, but it should be a platform. So it could be either or, it could be and. So just choose where the platform where you feel most comfortable, but also where you think your ideal audience is. And so doing that. And then the next thing I would say, once you have that, you figured out, I would say because a lot of people try to work on too many things at the same time. And that is actually a way to fail, because you're trying to do everything at once and then you end up doing nothing because you're overwhelmed. So just focus on one task. And when I always say to my clients and to people who come to the co-working session, just do a brain dump. If you just don't know what to do first, a brain dump is literally dumping your brain on a paper. So writing everything down that comes to mind that you think you have to do. Ideally, you want to separate, personal from business. Some people do it together, but I would say just put everything down, and then you can go on and separate if you want. You could put on one side everything that has to do with your business, and another side everything that has to do with personal, and then start looking at, okay, what are the money-making tasks, right? And so again, as I said, money-making tasks are tasks that are gonna bring you money. So they're either gonna get you new leads, or they're gonna allow you to convert leads or follow up. So it could be replying to emails. Some emails are money making tasks, because following up with that lead who's interested, or finding out whether they're still interested, that's a money making task, and sleeping on that could cost you money. Another thing that you may want to do is booking more calls. So you need to maybe reach out to some people, send them DMs, reminder, let them know that something is, if you have a new product or something like that. So actually actively engaging in sales, that is definitely obviously a money-making task, but also just engaging with people. Some people may feel like, oh, I think in a call yesterday, someone was saying, I really hate emails, and like clients will be asking her lots of stuff and she doesn't want to sit down and respond because it takes a lot of time, and she was looking for a way to make it a lot easier. But to be honest, at the end of the day, responding to people is going to make you money. And so you have to respond, and the faster you respond, the better. But secondly, if the questions that they ask are always the same, I suggest to just make a template, make a document where you could just share that with people whenever they have questions. And the best thing would be, because she was like, yeah, but some of the answers I actually need to get on a call with them, and so it's a lot of work. And I said, well, actually maybe you can skip all of that together, and what you do in your first follow-up email is invite people to a call. And I think a lot of people are kind of afraid to get on the phone with their prospect clients or just start conversations in the DMs. But to be honest, that's the only way, not the only way, but that's the fastest way to get a response. Either it's going to be a yes or a no, or not sure yet, most of the time. Not sure is no most of the time, right? But so I would say, as you're planning your weekend, looking at all the strategic things that you need to be working on, look at that, the money-making task. But the first, most important one would be, you need to figure out if you've done the homework of your mission, your vision, your personal values, your goals and objectives for this year. What is it really that you're trying to achieve? What is it that you're trying to do? Are you, how much money are you trying to make? Because I see a lot of people that create content, but it's not clear what they are. Like, are you an influencer? And maybe you have a small account, so you're like, oh, I am not an influencer yet. Okay, but you could start doing what influencers do. So your content should be very clear. Either you're talking about cleaning, you're talking about hair, you're talking about makeup, but you need to have kind of a theme. And so when I say do the homework of your mission, your vision, and all of that, I mean, think about what is it that you're doing, and actually, why is it that you want to do what you're doing? And so I hope that you found this interesting, that you learned a thing or two. If you have any questions, feel free to share it with me in the comment section, or just DM me. I said early on, I'm a lifestyle strategist and a business coach. I help women use their passion and skills to build a profitable side hustle, and those that have a side hustle actually transition into full-time business owners. If you feel like this is something I could support you with, or you're not sure yet, I would say book a call with me so we can talk about that. I hope you enjoyed today's live, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.